There is a moment when faith and fear collide, when the healer's delay feels like betrayal, when silence feels cruel. Mary and Martha stood in that moment, and everything changed. This is the story of the silence of God. Lazarus is dying. The breath in his chest grows thin, each inhale a struggle against the weight of decay. You know what it means when the body forgets how to breathe. This is not just death. This is the unraveling of love, the collapse of hope held for years in the quiet of a shared table, a familiar voice. And you who have whispered prayers into the dark, who have trusted that someone is listening, what happens when the one who gives life waits too long? The hills, dry, cracked like old pottery. Bethany clings to the flank of the Mount of Olives, a scatter of stone huts half buried in dust and time. Goats pick at thistles. Smoke curls from a single hearth. No grand roads, no soldiers, just the wind, low and constant, scraping over rock. This is not the city where miracles bloom in crowded streets. This is where life hangs by a thread, where a fever can end a name. A runner stumbles into the olive grove where Jesus stands, dust on his lips. His sandals split at the heel. He speaks only 7 words. Lord, he whom you love is ill. No plea, no cry for healing, just the fact laid bare. As if love alone should be enough to move the sun. They do not ask for a miracle. They do not say, "Come and heal him." They assume presence is power, that the mere nearness of him, the sound of his voice, the shadow he casts, will stir the blood, reopen the lungs. Love, they believe, cannot be distant. Love acts, but he does not move. For 2 days he stays. The sun rises, the sun sets, the figs ripen in the heat. And Lazarus fades. The text does not flinch. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 days longer. The words sit like stones in the mouth. No explanation, no divine whisper, just delay. And yet, the Greek word aun begins the sentence. Therefore he stayed, as if this delay is not failure, but conclusion, as if love itself reasoned, I must wait. The logic is unbearable, that the deepest affection could wear the face of absence, that the hand that calms storms could let a friend drown in his own breath. The disciples speak in hushed tones, their sandals shift on the gravel. To return to Judea is to walk into a tomb before the body is cold. The last time, the stones came fast. One struck the edge of Peter's cloak, left a tear they still see in the weave. They know the weight of a mob. They know how quickly breath turns to gasps. Thomas speaks last, his voice flat. No anger, no hope. Let us also go that we may die with him, not with Lazarus, with him, Jesus. He expects not rescue but execution. His words are not courage, they are surrender. A man stepping into a river, knowing the current will take him. This is no journey of deliverance, no race against death. The pace is slow, the road long, the air thick with the scent of wild mint and decay. They walk not to save a life, but to bury one. The miracle, if it comes, is already too late. And still the question coils in the dust. Can the resurrection be late? Can life itself be bound by hours, by the slow turn of a sundial? Can the one who spoke light into nothingness now stand outside a tomb, silent, while the body stiffens? The wind stops. The goats lift their heads. Somewhere, a door creaks shut, and the world holds its breath. 4 days. The number hangs like a stone in the throat. Not 3, not the trembling edge of hope. 4. In the counting of the rabbis, the soul circles the body, whispering, waiting, until the 3rd. Then, on the 4th, it sees the face bloated, the lips drawn back, the eyes sunken into shadow, and it departs. No more hovering, no more return. The breath is gone. The vessel is empty, and the law agrees. What lies beyond this point is not sleep. It is dust. It is gone. Biology confirms it. Theology seals it. Hope is not deferred. It is buried. The house, thick with breath. Not the breath of life, the breath of others, mourners, neighbors, the professionally grief-stricken. Flute players with cracked lips, fingers moving over holes like they're digging for something lost. Wailers, women with voices trained in lament, their cries rising in practiced arcs, a dissonant chorus that scrapes the walls. The sound doesn't comfort. It presses. It fills the space where silence should be, where prayer might live. A man coughs into his sleeve. Someone shifts on a wooden bench. The floor is gritty underfoot. Ash, maybe, or crushed herbs meant to mask what cannot be masked. Martha comes forward. Her veil is dark, not black. Mourning has its shades. She speaks. Her words are clean, precise. I know he will rise in the resurrection at the last day. A creed, a doctrine, recited, not felt. She stands on the edge of belief, but her feet are planted in the earth of loss. She does not say, I believe he will rise now. She says what is expected, what is safe. Theology is a wall. It keeps the wild thing, hope, caged. And yet, behind her eyes, something flickers. Not faith, not yet. Anger. Then it comes, sharp, dry. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. No honorific, no softening, just the blade. You were absent. You could have stopped this. You did not. The weight of those words, if you had been here, they do not accuse circumstance. They accuse him. The delay is no longer passive. It is active. It is choice. And choice implies blame. The crowd shifts. Murmurs rise like steam from hot stone. Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? The question is not spoken to Jesus. It is spoken about him in his presence, but not to him. It circles, it festers. It is not doubt. It is accusation wrapped in logic. If power exists to restore sight, does it not also exist to prevent breath from stopping? Is healing only for the living? Is resurrection only for the future? Or is it possible, terrible thought, that his power has limits? That he can mend but not reverse? That he can delay, and in delaying, choose death? Mary comes next. She does not speak at first. She falls, not to her knees, to her face. Her forehead presses the dirt. Her hands stretch forward, palms down as if she would crawl. Her posture is not argument, it is collapse. The same words, "Lord, if you had been here," but they come out broken, not sharp, shattered. The accusation is the same, but the tone, oh, the tone, is the sound of a heart split down the middle. She does not stand to speak. She lies where grief laid her. And he, Jesus, stands in the center of it, not untouched, not unmoved. He is the axis, the cause, in their eyes, of this ruin. Their pain has a face, and it is his. Their loss has a name, and it is absence. He who could have come, he who did not. The weight is not only in the tomb, it is in the space between them, in the silence after the accusations, in the way no one dares to look at him directly. He is the wound and the healer, the reason for the grief and the only hope beyond it. Then, the smell, not imagined, not symbolic, real, thick. It rises from the ground, from the crack in the rock, from the sealed mouth of the cave. Osmos, the Greek word, not fragrance, not decay as metaphor, rot, the sour sweet stench of flesh giving up, of bacteria feasting, of life turned to sludge. Martha warns, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days." She does not say it to inform. She says it to stop him, to protect him, to protect them all. This is not a place for miracles. This is a place for vultures, for worms, for silence. The stone, not rolled, not leaning, sealed, heavy, oiled, set into the earth like a tomb's tongue. It is not just a barrier. It is a verdict, a period at the end of a sentence. No one moves it lightly. No one moves it without grief. It is the final act of burial, the last word. To roll it back is not to hope. It is to defy, to tear open what has been closed by nature, by time, by law. To roll it back is to say, "I do not accept your finality. I do not accept your stench. I do not accept your death." The air does not stir. The fog, thick, gray, slow, rolls in from the east, swallowing the hills, muting the stones, blurring the edges of the world. Colors fade. The sky is neither day nor night. The light is flat. The breath is shallow. And the weight, oh, the weight, is not in the body in the cave. It is in the space between breaths, in the silence after the flute, in the moment before the stone moves, in the unbearable tension of a love that arrives too late or just in time. He asks, not as one who knows the way, but as one who has forgotten or never learned, "Where have you laid him?" The voice is low, not the tone of inquiry from a distant scholar, but the rasp of a man whose throat is tight with dust and dread. His eyes, red-rimmed, sunken, scan their faces. He does not seek directions. He seeks permission to go where love is buried, to stand at the edge of what cannot be undone. A shudder, deep, not in the chest, lower, in the gut, in the marrow. He groaned, not a cry, not a prayer, a sound torn from the root of being. The spirit within him stirred like a storm trapped in a jar, his shoulders clenched, his hands, calloused, familiar with wood and water, curled into fists at his sides. The air around him seemed to thicken, to resist breath. No one spoke. No one moved. The flute players had stopped. The wailers held their breath. Even the wind had gone still, as if afraid to disturb the tremor in his bones. Then, tears. Not a trickle. Not a dignified weep. They fell. Heavy, hot, unchecked, down the planes of his face, carving paths through the dust. One struck the stone at his feet. Another caught in the weave of his tunic. He did not wipe them, did not turn away. He stood, open, broken, the Son of God weeping, not for the world, not for sin, for a man, for a friend, for Lazarus. And the crowd, oh, the crowd, whispered, not in awe, in recognition. See how he loved him. As if that explained it. As if love were only sorrow. As if the depth of grief were the full measure of affection. They mistook the ocean for a puddle, did not see the fury beneath the flood, did not feel the earth tremble under the weight of divine sorrow. The cave mouth, a wound in the hillside, jagged, uneven, the opening dark like the pupil of a dead eye. No light escaped, only the breath of rot, slow and thick, rising like a mist from the throat of the earth. The stones around it were stained, damp, green with mold. Roots clung like fingers, trying to pull the rock apart. This was not a door. It was a mouth, and it had swallowed life whole. He steps forward, stops, looks into the dark, then speaks. Take away the stone. The words are quiet, not a plea, a command, simple, final, like the first word spoken over chaos. Martha. She moves now, quick, sharp. Lord, by this time there is a stench. Her voice cracks, not with grief, with fear, with the terror of what lies beyond decency, of what cannot be unseen, of what cannot be unsmelled. She reaches out as if to hold him back. Her fingers tremble. The smell, she says, is not just death. It is proof. Proof that time is won, that nature has sealed its verdict, that no one comes back from this. He turns, looks at her, not in anger, in sorrow. Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God? The question hangs, not rebuke alone, invitation, challenge, a thread stretched between doubt and wonder. Then, movement. Two men step forward. Their sandals scrape on stone. They press their shoulders against the cold, oiled surface. Muscles strain. Breath comes in grunts. The stone groans, a deep, grinding sound, like the earth itself resisting. Slowly, reluctantly, it shifts, rolls, reveals the blackness within. The stench rolls out, thick, sour, sweet in the worst way. It coats the tongue, fills the nose. One woman gags. A man covers his face with his cloak. The wailers step back. Even the dogs at the edge of the field turn their heads, whining. Jesus lifts his face, eyes to the sky, not closed, open, wide, as if seeing beyond clouds, beyond time. Father, he says, I thank you that you have heard me. His voice, clear, strong, not for himself, for them, that they may believe, that they may know that this moment is not madness. It is mission. Then, silence, deeper than before, the kind of silence that hums, the kind that waits. And he shouts, not a cry of pain, not a plea, a command, loud, piercing, like thunder split in two. Lazarus, come forth! The voice does not echo, it enters. It drives into the cave, into the dark, into the belly of death. It does not ask, it demands. It calls not to memory, not to spirit, to body, to bone, to breath. Then movement, a shuffle, a scrape. From the depths, slow, unsteady, a shape emerges, pale, wrapped, linen strips coiled around arms, legs, torso, like a mummy from the pyramids, feet dragging, hands bound at the sides, the cloth stiff with resin, with time, with the residue of the grave, and the face, covered, a napkin wrapped tight across the eyes, the nose, the mouth, not to honor, to seal, to silence, to ensure that even if breath returned, it would find no way out. That life, if it came, would suffocate in its own swaddling. He stands, there, in the light, not alive, not dead, between, bound, unable to see, unable to speak, unable to free himself. Jesus does not rush, does not touch. He speaks again, to the crowd, to the stunned, the weeping, the doubting. Unbind him and let him go. No grand gesture, no flourish, just a command to the living. Set him free. Hands move, trembling at first, then sure. Fingers work at the knots. The resin cracks. The linen peels away. One strip, then another. The napkin falls. Lazarus gasps, a raw, wet sound, like a newborn's first breath. His eyes blink, adjust, see light, see faces, see him, and the world, still holding its breath, finally exhales. Light, golden, slanting through the high pines, cutting shafts across the forest floor. Dust motes rise like sparks from an unseen fire. The air hums, not with sound, but with presence. A hush that breathes. This is not just mourning. It is memory made visible. He spoke. And the word did not merely travel. It arrived. Not as suggestion, not as plea, as decree. I am the resurrection and the life. Not I bring it, not I announce it. I am it. As water is wet, as fire burns, so he is life, uncreated, unending, self-sustaining. The breath in Lazarus's lungs was borrowed, alone against a dying world. But the breath in Christ's chest, it never began. It never ends. He does not receive life. All life receives him. Look at the wrappings. See them? Coiled tight, bound at wrist, ankle, chest. Linen soaked in resin, hardened like bark. Lazarus stumbles forward, alive, yes, but still dressed for the grave. Every step a struggle against the shroud. But Christ? His grave clothes lie in the tomb, folded, neat, the napkin not over his face, but placed aside, not torn off, not flung down, laid, as if he had time, as if death were nothing more than a room he'd finished with. Lazarus is unbound by others. Christ unbinds himself. One returns to breath, to bread, to weeping, to dying again. The other steps into a body that will never decay. Lazarus walks out of the cave, only to walk back in, years later, alone. But Jesus, he rises not to resume mortality, but to inaugurate a new kind of existence. Flesh that walks through walls, hands that bear scars, but never weakness. A life not extended, but transformed, the cloth over the face, sealed, suffocating. Lazarus cannot cry out, cannot breathe freely. The napkin is a lid on a jar, but Christ leaves his behind. Not because he needs it no longer, because he has shattered the very idea of being silenced by death. The tomb could not hold his voice. Why should cloth cover his mouth? That shout. Lazarus, come forth. Not a prayer, a summons. The voice that shapes stars now splits the silence of the grave. And in that cry, listen, echoes the thunder yet to come. The voice like rushing waters, like iron striking stone, like 1,000 harps strung with lightning. The same voice that will one day call every buried name into light. But the cost. Oh, the cost. The Sanhedrin gathers. Whispers turn to plots. The gavel falls. From that day forward, they took counsel to put him to death. Life walked out of the cave, and death marked the one who called him forth. The resurrection of another sealed the crucifixion of the resurrector. Love does not dodge the cross, it walks straight into it. Then the command, unbind him and let him go. Not magic, not miracle, ministry. The work continues. The body is alive, but still wrapped in the trappings of death. So hands reach out. Fingers work at knots. Resin cracks. Linen peels. This is the church. This is our task. Not to raise the dead, he has done that, but to help the risen walk free, to strip away the grave clothes still clinging, fear, shame, addiction, silence, to say, you are alive, now live. The stone. Men rolled it for Lazarus, shoulders strained, sandals slipped. A human effort against a human seal. But for Christ, no sweat, no strain. An angel descends, the earth trembles, the stone flees, not rolled, moved, as if the ground itself recoiled from holding him. And the stench, yes, it rose, thick, sweet rot, the breath of decay. But now, the wind shifts. A new scent, not perfume, not spice, breath, cool, clear, like dawn over a mountain stream. The Spirit moves, not to mask death, but to replace it. The same breath that hovered over the waters now fills the lungs of the new creation. He did not stand outside the tomb and call. He entered the realm of death, walked its corridors, felt its chill, breathed its air, then led the first procession out, not just for Lazarus, for all who would follow. The grave is no longer a destination, it is a doorway. And the one who walks through it first, he is not just the guide, he is the path, the door, the life, the lake. Still, a sheet of glass stretched to the horizon. Pink light spills across the water, soft as breath on skin. Mist curls above the surface, low and slow, drifting like memory. No ripple, no sound but the faintest creak of a cypress root settling in the mud. You know this moment, the one after the storm has passed but before the sun finds your face, the in-between, the drift. This is your fourth day, not counted in hours, felt in the hollow behind your ribs, the moment when the door clicked shut, when the test came back, when the call ended, when the silence began. There is no undo, no reversal, only this, the air before the word. And the silence, it is not emptiness, it is full, thick with presence, a pause shaped like a held breath, not absence, anticipation, the kind that hums in the bones. You whispered, "If you had been here," and the words cracked like dry earth. You meant it as accusation. He heard it as longing, saw the tear before the tone, did not flinch, did not rebuke, only leaned into the ache, his own eyes wet with yours. Now the stone, not just a slab of rock, it is the thing you've built around the dead dream, the sealed hope, the buried name. To roll it away, your hands tremble. What if the stench rises? What if the wound is still open? What if it is dead and light only proves it? But the command stands. Roll it away. Not to pretend, not to rush, but to expose. To let the dawn touch what death claimed. Trust his timing. Even when the air tastes of rot, even when the grave still smells like home, he does not rush because he knows the weight of what waits beneath the stone, knows the cost of calling a name into the dark. Yet he waits not to wound, but to wound through, to cut so he can fill. And now, listen. That voice, not thunder, not roar, but a tone deeper than bone. It shaped the dust, it stirs the blood. It calls not to your mind, but to your marrow. Come forth, not someday, not later, now. From the cave of your chest, from the sealed chamber of your heart, he speaks. And the dead thing stirs, but you do not rise alone. Others stand near, hands ready, not to carry you, to unbind you, to peel the cloth from your wrists, the strip from your face, to break the resin with their fingers. We are not meant to shed our grave clothes in isolation. The knots are too tight, the bindings too old. We need the touch, the pull, the voice that says, "I see you. I know you. You can breathe now." The stone was never meant to keep you in. It was placed to show what happens when light meets death, when voice meets silence, when love meets loss and does not blink. It was never a barrier. It was a stage. So now, drift. Let the water hold you. The sky blushes, the mist thins, the light grows. There is no need to speak, no need to move, only to be, to float, to rest. The work is not yours. The word has been spoken. The stone is gone. The breath is yours. The hands that unbound Lazarus, they are here. They are yours. They are mine. We will help you. We will wait with you. We will breathe with you. Close your eyes. Feel the cool air on your lids. Hear the distant dip of a heron's wing, the soft lap of water on shore. The only task now, to receive, to let the dawn do its work, to let the rest come. It is not escape, it is arrival. The drift is not aimless, it is trust, floating, held, here, now, in the hush, in the light, in the breath, in the rest.